loud. It's on now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're so good to me. All right, my friends. All right, so our intended outcomes today is that you're really going to be able to schedule, manage, and provide some great and engaging Zoom sessions for your 80K events, and that you can practice some of these tools today. I'm going to have you practice a little bit. Most of it is I'm going to be pointing those out, and because I am recording this, I'm recording for a couple of sisters who requested this because they couldn't attend today. I also wanted to let you know, for those of you who attended, I'm going to be pushing my PowerPoint to you because I took so many screenshots to show you where to click and what to do. I know that I'm moving fast, but know that you're getting this PowerPoint for your notes for the future. All right, here we go. All right, so if we take a look at our toolbox, oops, back. If I'm moving your faces, that's what I'm doing. All right, if we take a look at the first tool, which is going to be scheduling. How do we schedule Zooms? If you attended Jeannie's last time, she gave you a nice overview of how to do it. If you are a facilitator, I would highly recommend that one, you have a paid account. As you know, our sisters, we like to gab, and there's probably no way that you could hold an event or a meeting for our sorority in under 40 minutes if it kicks you out on the free one. So I know that Karen has purchased one for our state of Colorado to use. You could arrange sharing that with her. She's offered that for our state, and if it's too busy of an account, it runs about $15 a month is for the general first level to kind of get in. Maybe your chapter could decide that that's an investment they want to do for the year, but you need to do that. When you're going to schedule a meeting via Zoom, you need to make sure you're in your account and that you've logged in. And we've talked a little bit about that today, that you see different tools when you've logged into yours than when you just go to a link. So if you're going to schedule, you can do that in two different places. One, you can schedule a meeting up at the top underneath the banner, or to the side, there's buttons in your menu that says meetings. I know that I'm in my account because I now see my profile. And for those of you who wanted to change your profile so that when you go off camera, it has a beautiful little graphic or a picture, this is where you change it. You can do that in a free one, and you can also do that in a paid account. So where it says change, you would just upload what you want to put there. All right, so let's practice scheduling. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and we're actually now going to go into my Zoom. I hope I still have it up. Wrong thing. Escape. All right, let me try again so you can see it. All right, so I'm going to go through the steps that I just showed you: hitting my account, hitting meetings, hit schedule a meeting. So when I schedule a meeting, you want to pick a title for what's going to make sense to you. Today I put Zoom 201. That's what I'm calling this. I tend not to do descriptions in general, just because they don't necessarily see them. If you're using the Zoom email, that's where they would see it. And because I tend to do my own emails like Jeannie does, I tend not to put it there. She talked about how you're going to really check that date and calendar and check AM and PM. If you do a duration, let's say I think that this training was going to be an hour, but it ends up being 90 minutes. It's not, ladies, don't get scared. If it's going to be longer than an hour, Zoom is not going to kick you out in a paid account. It's going to keep you on until you as the host stop it. Let's say you have some meetings that you're going to set up because you're on a committee for 80K and you guys are going to meet every Thursday. Instead of having to create a meeting every single time for every single Wednesday, what you can do is name this a reoccurring, and then it's going to give you more buttons of when to put that in, and then you can put that in. You don't have to do it, and everybody logs in with the same credentials every Wednesday. I avoid the registration, and I don't know the behind the scenes of what happened with our regional virtual and so many of us not getting locked out. If this was the problem, I do not through Zoom require registration. So even on my center work that I do in the region where they have to pay to do some of these virtual trainings, I don't do this because I don't want Zoom involved in that. You can do that, and then there's other things that Zoom will require you to do later on down here. I'm not doing that. Meeting ID, I usually always have it generate automatically. That will just be something that Zoom wants to do. That's another security level. But this is where I do play. Zoom always recommends that you have a passcode, so I will blurt that out, and just like today I made it Zoom 201, something clever, because the last thing we want to do is make it more challenging to get in. So you can always default that. What I shared with you today is that you can turn this off. And I chose to turn it off today because when I'm training, I don't want to have to be monitoring who's coming in and out. So I turned off the waiting room. As far as I know, it's going to always default to this starting the middle of this month. But I am curious to see once that next update comes if we can be able to turn this off according to Zoom or not. All right, here's where Jeannie and I differ in how we schedule. I make video always on for the host and always on for the participant. I choose that purposely with my sorority because some of our sisters are new to Zoom and they have a hard enough time trying to find the camera. And so I have it default that once they're in and they say connect with the computer, in that little button, connect the audio, they're ready to go. And then if I want them to mute or turn off their camera, I will do that. I always leave it both. And we talked about when some sisters were entering this training that they could connect with a computer or they could connect on the telephone. So that may be another choice for our little Mary, Sarah, that we were talking about, that Mary may want to dial in and attend on the phone. I'm just concerned about her hearing aids and how she hears on the phone. But that's another choice for some sisters to do who are having trouble with the technology. I like to allow people to join before the host generally. If it's a more formal meeting, and I definitely have had that waiting room, I would uncheck that and not let them be able to do that. I want to be there first. Here's where you mute upon entry, and I do use that sometimes. There are some platforms where we're having so many users, that sort of thing. I'm going to mute them because otherwise we get so much. Authenticated users, this is where it gets into those registration and that sort of thing. That's what I don't check. Breakout rooms we're going to head to soon, and we'll talk about what this means to pre-assign them. And if I should have on this meeting, but thank you, Sarah, who reminded me, I should have clicked automatically record the meeting when I started. All right. I'm going to stop sharing this, and now we're going to go back to just this view. On this view, let's see. Let me go back to my slides. Oh, I know what I was going to do. Let me go back to sharing. I was supposed to share with you how to copy and paste a hyperlink. All right, so here's my invite. I scheduled a meeting. It's supposed to be starting at 3 o'clock your time. I'm going to copy the link. Now I'm going to stop sharing this. I'm going to share my email. So now I'm in my email. Dear sisters, blah, blah, blah. Here's your meeting. And now here's where I want to put my hyperlink. So in my email, and probably yours, this is my Gmail, I'm going to find something that says insert. If you can't find the word insert, you're going to find something where it has two chains put together. This is the button that you can find on Google Docs. So when I made the flyers for this, I would put in the hyperlink there. Other email platforms, whatever you're using, there's this little symbol here. You're going to click that. Down here, I'm going to say the words I want to show up. Click here for Zoom. And down here, I'm going to paste in that address for the actual Zoom and put insert. And that's how you make a hyperlink. So if I hover over that, you'll see that that address for Zoom is there.
Wow. I don't think I have that.
All right. Let me go back to the scheduled meeting, Carolyn. All right. So if you want, you could copy the whole invitation. This is what Jeannie showed in that other training. You can copy all of this and put it in your own email. Sometimes I've done that because I want to make sure that people have all the ways they can connect and not just through a device, and they can connect on a phone. So this is where I set all these different cities here. It doesn't matter which one they call, just call. And they're going to put in their meeting ID and their passcode if they're connecting by phone. So I could copy this and put it into my email and keep what I want to keep and take out what I want to take out. So this has my hyperlink or my link right here to the Zoom. It has the meeting ID that we said, the ADK fund. If I had put something in the description, that would show up on this invitation also. All right, I'm going to go back to my presentation. No, I'm going to go back to my presentation. Nope, I'm going to go back to my presentation. It says PowerPoint. I'm not sure why that's there. Maybe it's hidden. Hold on. All right, are you guys seeing that? Yes or no?
Says let's practice scheduling.
Perfect, that's what I wanted. I have to move you again. All right, so we practiced some scheduling. Now we're gonna go to tool number 2. Tool number 2 is about settings and security. So on here, you see my lovely little face, sorry. I had to do some screenshots while I was playing within a fake Zoom session. I wanted to show you some buttons at the bottom. So in the last session, Jeannie was talking about that you have a security button. You have that if you're a host. If you're a host, you have that. And you can, in the middle, remember when we talked about security in the last session? We talked about it anytime as a host, you can lock that meeting. Okay, I've got everybody here. Just to be safe, I'm gonna lock it. I can tell you now, I've only locked a meeting one time, and that's because they had to be elected delegates for something that we were doing pretty official, and then I locked it. You can see that there's a waiting room. You could take that off if you're, today I had a waiting room, and then when I was ready to start, I could just kick it off so that anybody else who was coming late could get in. There's also permissions that I could allow participants to have. And in a minute, I'm going to give all of you screen share rights in a minute. Right now it's not queued that way, but I'm going to do that. So let's say I'm in the middle of the meeting and Joy has this brilliant idea and she says, can I show you? And I can say, sure, everybody who wants to share can share. I can enable or disable the chat. Sometimes that's advantageous to do. For example, during a presentation in a program section of your meeting, and you want everybody to really focus on what's going on with our presenter for our program, it's an outside person, and really stay focused, you could disable the chat so that you can do that. You can allow people to rename themselves. I had to many times when I'm doing remote teaching, I had to click that off because second graders wanted to name themselves all sorts of cute little names and spend their time doing that instead of focused on what they were supposed to. Wasn't that precious? And then same thing with unmuting. I sometimes had to do that with my little second graders that they wanted to keep interrupting and grab the microphone and interrupt. So sometimes I had to do that. But those are the quick securities that you can find on your bar. The next up in the bottom is the chat. And we talked about chat in Genies that you can chat with just everyone, or you can change this to chat with just one person. If your meeting is being recorded, please know that the chat can be memorialized in that video. Okay? Advanced settings is the next one for sharing your screen. So on the bottom, you see that green box that says share the screen, and we're going to again practice this in a minute. And it says only one person can share at a time. Here's a second button that says allow participants to share at the same time. That's when you get really complicated with your Zooms. I've never done that, even in all the years that I've done that, but there may be a need for some high-tech people doing that. Then when you click advanced sharing options, this white button up, this white box over here to the left of my face is the ones that pop up with that. Okay. All right, so let's explore more about settings when you're setting up your meeting. So I'm going to stop sharing this and go back into my Zoom. And we're going to talk about my account. Hold on again. All right, so on here, let's go to settings. So I'm doing the menu on the left of my paid account. If you don't have a paid account, you will not have as many of these as choices. Okay.
And Phyllis,
remember I said,
can I ask a question? Because there's different kinds of paid accounts, do the different paid accounts have different options?
So it's not till you really add webinars as a big company that it really starts to change on that paid level. It really more on the basic paid level is about how many in a group. It's when you start getting really fancy with webinars that it starts changing just a few buttons, and it's not very many. You'd be surprised the difference. We get a lot of access at this basic entry level.
Okay.
All right, so waiting rooms. I always have that set for default that I want a waiting room, and I change it on an invite, or I change it once I'm in the meeting. All right, I wanted to show you this one where you can customize a waiting room. On this one, you can edit what this says. So I've seen some meetings where it says, please wait, Jeannie Hink will be right with you. So you could change what this says. So if you were doing something for a training, I could have said, please wait, our training today on Zoom 201 will begin soon. You could change it, and once you change it once, it changes it for all, so you would have to go back and change it again, because what we're in right now is the general settings for all the Zoom meetings that we would be scheduling. So I chose just to keep the generic one and not change it, because sure enough, I'll forget to go back and change, but you could. You could add a logo here if you wanted to, so that when they were waiting in the waiting room, perhaps it has an ADK logo sitting there, and add your meeting topic there too. So that was a fun way to do that. All right, passcodes. We talked about that. I usually only change this in each scheduled meeting. This is a generic passcode that is for all of my meetings. So all of my meetings are going to generate the same passcode every time. All right, we talked about a lot of this stuff when we were scheduling the meeting. We talked about video that I defaulted on. We talked about sometimes I will let people get in there before me. We talked about muting and having cameras on. So this is another place that you could turn off chat ahead of time. You know that you don't want people chatting, or you can prevent participants from saving the chat, or you could turn off private chat. And there's been different various events that I've hosted that I've needed to turn those things off for certain reasons. So I just wanted to point that out for you.
Phyllis,
Yes?
you said that when you record, it records all chat. Does it record the private chats?
It does.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And so you need to know that it's recording all of that. There's access to all of that. So I always try to tell everybody when we're being recorded. All right, sound notification. This is one that many people don't change, but I do. I like the doorbell. I want to hear the doorbell as the host. When I'm not the host, I don't want everybody else to hear it. So it defaults to everyone hears the doorbell when people are coming into the meeting. I change it to only the host and the co-host hear that doorbell. I'm skipping over some things. All right, co-host. I have this as a default because, as I shared with you many times, when you're sitting in a meeting, sometimes someone's got a great idea and they need to share their screen, or let's say something happens and I've got to go. So I have this as a default that I can have a co-host, or I can have someone take over the hosting duties. And that's all in the bar at the bottom, but I have it as a default that I am allowed to do that anytime. I do have pollings on, and we're going to do a poll today, but I have that on so that it's an option in my bottom bar. So and I'm going to show you where that is in a little bit when we get to that part. Polling is a great way to get a pulse of a room, or just to have fun and have some more engagement. I always have my toolbar showing so that I see my tools at all times when I'm the host. And the same thing with sharing Zoom windows during a screen share. What that does is, remember when I kept saying, oh, I want my PowerPoint, that shows me all the things I have access of sharing. All right, so generally I keep my default on that we can screen share and that I only have the host do it. I'm going to switch you in the middle of a meeting to all participants are going to do that in just a minute. So I can do that. If I know everybody's going to be sharing their screen, I could go ahead and default to that, but I personally like keeping it on just the host only does that. Annotations we actually had the other night. I don't know if Jeannie caught it. Jeannie, I think, was presenting, and someone grabbed a little pencil and they wrote their name on the hello, my name is. That was an annotation. So I leave that on. You don't use it much, but the minute I don't have this on is the minute I'm going to want to have that as a choice. So let's say I was doing my 80K budget for approval and someone had a question and they couldn't find where I was talking about, or I wanted to change an amount, I could easily just write on the screen as if I had a marker and was writing on my whiteboard. Speaking of whiteboard, Zoom does have the a screen that's called a whiteboard, and it's just like what you think. It would be a blank white piece of screen that you could take various different colors and write on creatively. You can also set this there. Other people write on it a lot. This is fun, but it's also crazy. So I would not do this unless you were specific, like I want to do this, I know how I'm going to use it, and I'm probably going to turn it back off once I'm done with this meeting. All right, I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. These are some defaults that are already set. I want to go down here to breakout rooms. We're going to learn how to do breakout rooms today. So I have that on, and the reason why I have it on is that way it's going to show up in my toolbox all the time, because you just never know, like when I want to break a big group up into a smaller group, I have that on so that it will show up in my toolbars at the bottom. And I'm going to do this so that sometimes I want to choose the groups and sometimes I'm going to let Zoom choose the groups. But I have to check this if I want to be able to do it myself. Okay.
Does that mean that the buttons always have to be pushed to the right to be on?
Yes, if they're to the left, I've turned it off.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Perhaps closed captioning might be something we want to turn on for our sisters, that if they want to read what the speakers are saying, it actually has that capability. It's pretty awesome. Zoom is just pretty awesome. That's all I can say. And then the last thing I wanted to show you is way down here. And it's just another alternative. Right down here. No. I missed it. Here we go. It says allow live stream meetings. Let's say my sister Mary doesn't do Zoom, but she does Facebook. She's refusing to do Zoom. I could turn this on and I could connect Zoom with Facebook so that the meeting is going live on Facebook. I don't recommend this in a general sense because we probably don't want everyone out in the world seeing our Zoom, but I just wanted to point it out. This may be an alternative for your chapter. If the people on your Facebook, it's a closed group, you just want your group to see it, that sort of thing. You have that capability with Zoom. I'm not going to tell you how to do that. That's pretty complicated, but I just wanted you to know that you could do that. All right. All right, tool number 3. Oh, not yet. Yep. Yep, tool number 3. Sorry, I was just checking my notes. All right, we talked about on Tuesday night when we talked about virtual planning meetings and programming that we wanted to make these meetings as engaging as possible. We wanted them to be interactive. We wanted to include time for visiting. We wanted the technology to run smoothly. We wanted to have organized and quicker agendas, and that we wanted to have some other people in the room. If you noticed, I talked to Joy. Joy, feel free to jump in and help if we want. If I get stuck, I could easily make Joy a host in the middle of my meeting, and then she would have access to the buttons I do. So having some other help is good when you're trying to schedule those meetings. So let's practice some more tools for engagement during a meeting. So one of them that I've been toggling back is share the screen. So I'm going to stop sharing this and I'm going to go back to my grid. And what I'd like us to do is I'm going to, in just a minute, I'm going to make 3 of us. Oh, let me show you first. Let me show you how to do this first. So to share the screen, I'm going to click the green box at the bottom. And in a minute, 3 volunteers are going to click the green box at the bottom one at a time. And it's going to say share the screen. And every time I say, let me share the screen, when I push that button, this white pop-up box comes up. And this is everything I have open on my desktop. So if you don't have anything open, it's okay. We'll just see what your desktop looks like, and we'll see probably some cute pictures that you have in the background on your desktop. It's okay for you to practice. It's all right. But if you notice when I did this, I wanted to go and share my PowerPoint. So I put that black arrow showing you that's what I'm going to click on, is that PowerPoint. And I know it's PowerPoint because in the bottom right-hand corner of that little graphic, I see the orangish, rustic orangish P for PowerPoint. And that's what I'm going to share. So what I do is I click that, click on top of it, and then I click the blue share button, and magically my screen shares what's on my computer with everybody attending virtually. All right, so let me stop sharing now. And I'm going to change so that all participants can share the screen. So I taught you this earlier. I said on the right-hand side of share the screen at the bottom, the one that's clicked right now says 1 participant can share at a time. I'm changing it to, nope, I'm going to a different place. I'm going to security, and I'm going to say allow all participants to share the screen. So I've now clicked that. Who would like to share practice? And I want volunteers on people who've never done it, not people who know how to do it. Who wants to practice sharing the screen? Sarah Hellman, you're on. Sarah Hellman is sharing her screen. And we're not seeing anything, Sarah Hellman. There it comes. There's Sarah's. She picked her flyer for today's training. She had that open so that she could come to this. All right, so Sarah, you're going to say stop sharing. You should see a bar with a red marker, and she did it perfect. Let's say when you do this with 2nd graders like I did, they wanted to share the screen, I let them share, then they don't know how to stop sharing, or they started sharing when they're not supposed to. You as a host can always click stop sharing. You can always turn that off if they get stuck. All right, I need 2 more volunteers. Who wants to try? Karen wants to try. Here comes Karen's screen. She has her email up. Good job, Karen. Stop sharing. You might hover to the top too. Sometimes my bar is at the top. There you go. You're muted. We can't hear you, but you did great. All right, 1 more volunteer who's never tried sharing the screen. Mary, you're on. Mary, if you need to talk to us, you can unmute. So
Hey,
Mary, are you on?
I'm here, but
Okay, are you on an iPad or a
I'm on a Mac.
laptop? An
Yeah.
iMac?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I would think it's at the bottom, but you could try at the top for your buttons, wherever your bars are. Do you see where your chat is?
Yeah, I did that down there and I got something else that came up.
Okay, so when you hit share the screen, did you have that white pop-up window?
No, what I got is I've got desktop 1 and then I have iPhone, well, I have advanced in Safari.
Okay, so you're gonna hit desktop because that way we're.
Wait a minute, I see a share in the corner.
Yep, hit the share. There you go.
Okay.
Okay, so we see her pretty background in the back and that she has a Zoom window up. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you,
And
Mary.
then I
You'll
see
stop
stop
sharing.
share. Now I see what I did wrong. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, you did good. Now guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take that away now so that you don't hijack my meeting. Not that I don't trust you or anything. Karen's laughing at me. Karen Chandler, I'm glad you get my humor. We don't know each other, but I know we have like minds because you're laughing at my jokes. All right, ladies. So Jeannie shared with you about where to find your reactions in the last one. And so now I want you to be able to change your reactions to the skin color of your choice. So I'm going to show you how to do this. Hold on. So I am going to my Zoom account. Hopefully I still got it up there. Let's see what I got when I get there. Nope, that's not what I want. Let's see. There it is. All right, so to change your skin color, oh, I'm in the wrong place. I don't need to change that. Your skin color actually is in video. So to the little caret, we call it, the little arrow up beside stop video, you're gonna click video settings. So if everybody will click video settings beside their camera, their video camera, then you see a menu left of your face. Left of your face, go to general settings. It should be the top one, top of the menu on the left. Do you see reaction skin tones now? Pick the skin tone of your choice.
I'm completely lost. I don't know what you said. Sorry. But
I'll go one more time. Are you ready? To find skin tones that match your skin, if you want, you're going to go to the caret up beside stop video, and you're going to click that so that you have an open menu. You're going to click video settings, and then magically a white box pops up with your face. On the left-hand side is a menu. You're going to go to the one that says general, and you click general. Then you should see choices for skin tones, and you can pick your skin tone there, and then you should be good once you've clicked it. And then you can close that box out. Jeannie talked about the new interactions. In the chat box, I don't think we need to practice that, Jeannie. Practice the chat box. Let's go to finding yourself in the participant list. So if you'll open the participant list, if you have the updated version of Zoom, you now have some new choices for buttons under here. So you should have a yes, a no, go slower, go faster, and a menu called More. If you hover over More, you should have a thumbs up and a thumbs down and a clapping. Then you should have a coffee cup. If you hover over the coffee cup and you click that, that's going to tell me you're on a break if I'm your trainer. And it only goes to me. No one else knows you're on a break, but I know you're on a break. So, for example, watch, if I were to say, I got to go to the bathroom, I'm going to stop my camera. Then I'm going to quick go and tell my trainer, who, because I'm on a 3-hour trainer with, you know, Phyllis Robinette, and I'm going to hit that coffee cup so she knows I'm just on a break. But if I am in a 3-hour training or 3-hour meeting and my kid's crying because he skinned his knee and now I know I got to fix the knee, put a Band-Aid on, I can turn off my camera, quick tell my trainer, hey, I'm going to be gone for a little while, and I'm going to click the little clock looking thing beside the coffee cup. And that way, as a trainer or a facilitator, when that pops up to me on my side, which you guys are not seeing, I can see right now Jeannie Hink's got a major disaster hand going on in her house. She's going to be gone for some time. And so she put up the clock. So Sandra, I hope everything's okay because I see you're going to be gone for a little bit. And if in a training, you can definitely see that that's important to tell someone so that you know when they're going to be gone. All right, if everybody thinks Phyllis Robinette is really cute and she deserves everything in the world, everybody vote yes. Hit your green yes. Woohoo! I don't see any no's. You guys are nice. Awesome. All right, and you can always do the thumbs up and thumbs down, but when we use this participant box, it's only coming to me. So let's say something's coming up in your meeting and you need to take a quick little vote, but you still want it to be secret. This is the way it can be secret because only the host can see it on my side. Now, what I tried the other day, because these are all new, I tried with another trainer that she and I have been using Zoom for 7 years. We played around with this. If she's a host and I'm the co-host can't see it. Only the designated host or the account owner can see the secret voting. So that was one glitch we weren't crazy about, but we did. And if you are playing Jeannie with the raise a hand, that's a good way to interrupt for a question or that sort of thing, is raise a hand. I tend to like the chat box better because as I'm a trainer, I get really distracted. I may not see who's raising a hand. I may not click on that participants regular. But if I have some technology help, they can see those hands. I just prefer, my style is to use the chat box and either message the co-host a question or put it out for public, if you want to do that. All right, ready for poll? Yes.
When you were talking and we were doing the different, whether it was yes or no, or any of the, I could see everybody's response in the chat box.
Oh, I didn't know that. Let's try it again. All right, chat box. I'm bringing it up. Bringing up participants to the side. Everybody vote that Sarah Hellman is the best recruiter in ADK. Yes or no? All right, so are you seeing it in participants or are you seeing it in the chat box? In participants?
I'm seeing it in the chat box and I see how everybody votes.
All right, could you see Jeannie's coffee cup?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I don't know why it didn't work the other day then.
Yes, and I can see it too.
I'm
Okay.
seeing it in participants.
You're seeing it in participants, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why we couldn't get it to work because that's what we were trying to do. We were planning a big training that we have that's 6 hours long, and we were like, oh, this is going to be great. We can do it. And then anyway, well, I'm glad it's working now. Maybe it was just a glitch of Zoom that day because it was a new update. Maybe they fixed it. All right. I like that better because if you want something secret, you could always use something different to do that, right? Most of the time we want to see what everybody votes, right? We want to see that. All right. So let me share back to my PowerPoint. And we're going to go now and talk about polls. So polls are another way to get engagement. They can be simply for fun or to actually do business. You can schedule them you can develop them and create them in the middle of a meeting. You do not have to wait and do it before, but you do have to do this. This is what I just have discovered using polls. I have not found another way without launching the meeting. So for today's, I did create a poll ahead of time. It's already made. But I had to start this Zoom session on the day I did this, which was, I don't know, several days ago when I was developing my training. I started the Zoom to create the poll. So I started the Zoom. It says start this meeting, even though it wasn't scheduled till September 10th. Start the meeting. And at the bottom of my bar, and the bar at the toolbox bar at the bottom, I hit the polls button. When I hit the polls button, this white box comes up. This white box, the first thing, of course, you're going to do is put a title for your poll. Okay. Then the next step is, do I want the results of this to be anonymous? So if we were doing something where we wanted to have a secret ballot, you would want to probably hit anonymous. It's still going to show the results of what happens, what the decision is in the poll, but it's not going to say who said what. And then once you have the whole question developed, you're going to hit that button that I've circled called Launch the Polling. That's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to click polls. You see where I put the black arrow. I'm going to hit that in just a minute, and then I'm going to say launch the polling, and you guys are all going to vote because this question is going to pop up in the middle of your screen. You're going to vote, and then I'm going to be able to end the poll in a minute. So I will give you a warning. I'm going to end the poll in 30 seconds. Last voters get in, and then I'm going to click share. You will see that all happen now. All right, so I'm now back on my grid. I can see everybody's face. I'm going to go to polls, and I'm going to launch this poll. You may start voting.
Wow.
So you're seeing everybody engage. I will say 30 seconds to vote. Oh, it looks like it's timing you at the top. I was about right.
No, I just have a list of participants.
I'm sorry, what,
I
Carolyn?
never did get a poll question.
It's not popping up.
I
on
never
your
did get a
screen?
poll question. I just thought, no, it isn't.
It isn't? You're on an iPad?
I just have participants.
Is there
Yes.
anybody else on an iPad? Karen, are you on an iPad? No? Anybody else? Okay, well, I'm not sure about iPads. Sometimes they're funny about stuff. Carolyn, I'm gonna write you down and check you in a minute. All right.
Okay.
iPad polls. And I'll research that and I will let you know because it could have just been, it just didn't pop up for some reason. All right, I'm going to end it because I already gave you the 30-second. And now at the bottom, I can do two things. I could relaunch the poll if I didn't think something went right, or I could just go ahead and share. I'm going to go ahead and share results. And that's our results. And then when I'm done sharing those or answering questions about those, there's a button for me as a host to say stop sharing the results.
And do you only get the poll if you are the host and you have set your settings to allow polls?
Or if you are a host or a co-host it may show up in your bar. Do you want me to make you a co-host, Jeannie, and you could tell me?
I just was curious if I had to set that up in settings prior.
So I went over that in the settings that I always have polls available. You just move it over to turn it on. And even if I don't intend to have a poll, I have it as an option because I could quick make a poll now by hitting polls and make a new one with a new question, that sort of thing, and run it real quick based on what's happening in the meeting.
Yeah, my question was, only the host will get that. Nobody else will have it, correct? That button.
Yes, unless a co-host gets it. And I have a feeling that co-hosts, and I can make a co-host do that to see if you want.
No, that's okay. I
Okay.
can experiment later.
Okay. All right, my friends, let me go back to my PowerPoint. All right. Next tool. Now we're going to get fancy. So we practiced this the other night on the programming Zoom, in which we wanted to break up a big group into a smaller group. Let's say you're going to a virtual state meeting that Karen's called, and we have several committees that need to meet. They could schedule their own Zoom, or Karen could say, from this time to this time is going to be committee meeting, and break us out that way to do that kind of work and break us out into membership committee and budget committee and bylaws committee, that sort of thing. We could do that. So to do that, I'm going to show you a Zoom video. Can you hear that all right? If you can, give me a thumbs up. Let me turn it up. That better sound?
All I see is the saw. I don't even hear anything.
I don't either.
All right. So what I chose to do is reshare. Can you hear it now?
I can see it.
No.
All right. You see it now?
And
All
see
right.
it. Can
I
hear-
have you guys on grid on the side. I'm going to push play again. And would you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you can hear it? Can you hear it?
Mm-mm.
No?
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay. I'm going to show you my way because the video's not, you're not picking up the sound, okay? All right. Can't hear it. Oh. How about this? How about I narrate the video because you all can't see what I'm doing on my bar at the bottom. I can't share that with you. So let me show you the video and I will narrate it with my voice. Let's try that. All right, so she's just explaining that she's going to show you how to do this. So you have to enable breakouts in your setting ahead of time. We talked about that during settings. She's clicking the breakout button at the bottom and only host can see that. And then so if you need help, she just showed you how she made someone a co-host. So when you hit the breakout button, it tells you how many groups you want to be. And it was telling you that she's going to break them out into 2 rooms with 6 participants in each room. And you pick either automatically or manually to do that. If you do it automatically like she did, she can exchange them and put them in different rooms. That's what I did to Marcy the other day. I ended up putting her in the 2 in the same room, and then I had to move her. Once you have them all decided, you hit open the rooms. As a host, you can jump into other rooms. That's what I was doing and checking in on how the rooms were going. And she's showing you in that video where it says join at the upper right, how she joined into room 1 or join into room 2. This is what I did at the bottom of the meeting. I said 1 more minute. I typed that in and hit it. And then I hit that button, and then people were to click and join back in, or if time ran up, they came back automatically. And she's showing you how they're jumping now back into the main room. So everybody's in the main room. If you wanted to reopen the same rooms again, you just hit open all the rooms, and it would keep them in the same groups unless you move them around into different ones. You could set a setting in that they only have X amount of minutes, and you could determine that ahead of time. If you want to pre-assign, this is what you do it. So back in your settings under meetings, when you go into your meeting, in that part where I told you where breakout rooms were there, and it says breakout room pre-assigned, you can upload a document that would have everybody's name. We don't know who actually shows up in our meetings and trainings. That's why I didn't do that the other day. I waited until everybody was there and did it myself. Let me minimize this for a minute, otherwise my video may go on and on and on. There we go. All right. Are there questions about breakout rooms? It's actually pretty easy. It seems so complicated, but it's amazing what computers will do.
I assume that we can watch the video by going to the Zoom thing and clicking on it.
You're just leading to my next slide. Here we go.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're reading and thinking just like me. So your next tool, of course, is the entire toolbox. Zoom has lots of tutorial videos. Jeannie's talked about watching them over and over. You can do it 2 ways for help. You can watch a video. That's the ones I like to do because I'm so visual. It makes more sense for me. But every once in a while, I can't find a video. I can always go to knowledge base. That's a techie word for, you know, Q&A. So you would hit that, and then there's all sorts of topics that you could go and try to figure out, because you know you have a question, you're not sure how actually to find it. That would be a better way to search it. And then of course there's always the infamous, just Google it. Just Google, how do I blah, blah, blah on Zoom? And magically there's going to be all these videos for you to use. All right, we are 1 minute past time, but I am willing to stay and answer more questions for those of you who have questions about all the tools that we learned today. And I hope that you have great virtual meetings, and I'm here to help you in any way. And sure enough, Jeannie is too. Tara, are you practicing raising your hand, or do you have a question?
I have a question.
Sure.
When you said that within a meeting you can reassign somebody to be a co-host, like if you have to leave or something, if the version of the paid version that I have is for one co-host, can I still within a meeting assign a co-host?
Yes. And that happens to me a lot of times. And most of the time, even when I know someone's going to help me, I wait and do it during the meeting, or when they first get on, I make them a co-host. Because doing it ahead of time, you have to have the right email, and then if it doesn't work, you're still kind of doing it in the middle of the meeting anyway. So I tend to do it once they get on. I just click and say, okay, Jeannie, I'm going to go ahead and make you the co-host now. I did that the other night when we did programming. That way she had the buttons in case something got stuck on my side.
Robin,
Yes?
so therefore on your particular screen, because you're hosting today, you have a button that says settings? Because I don't have that on mine because I'm a participant. But you have a special button down there on the bottom that you can click on and then get into change settings and do all this seamlessly?
Yes. And it's called security, and it's got a shield is the
Okay.
icon.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Or you set them ahead of time in the Zoom platform for scheduling.
Right, but you can then later go to the bottom and hurry up and change whatever you want instantly. Okay,
And that's what I did with share the screen.
right, okay, thank you.
Robin,
Yes.
on reactions at the bottom, I am only getting the clap and the thumbs up. Is there a thumbs down from that bottom reaction?
So not in reactions. The thumbs down was in, go to find your name and open up participants.
Yes.
And then beside your name, if you hover towards the right, then you'll magically see some more buttons for you to push.
Okay, I see rename. Yeah, because the blue one down at the bottom under more, that's dislike. So I would have to use that one.
Yes.
Okay, okay, all right. Thank you.
Any other questions for the good of the group? Okay, Joy?
I have not tried this yet, but I've been told that if I log into Zoom, I can practice by setting up a fake meeting and I can see all these things. So that's what my intention is to try next, so that I can see all those control panels that Phyllis has so wonderfully introduced us to today.
Yes, Joy, and there's always probably sisters willing to be guinea pigs and join on with that if you want to see what it looks like on their side to compare. That's kind of what my friend and I were doing the other night. We were like, oh my goodness, I said, there's new buttons, and we both freaked out because we've been using Zoom forever. So we had to
Marcy and I'll get on with you, Joy.
Well, Janine, you and I did that once before. We practiced.
Yes, we have. Marcy can join us because she's going to do this at our meetings.
Good.
Awesome.
I have a gal that I practice with every week. Every week we get together. In fact, Mary Ann, give a wave.
This was a lot of great information, but I can see I need the practice.
And I know how fast I was going, ladies, so, and how familiar I am with Zoom, so I kind of know right where to click, 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 click. So that's why it was recorded, and that's why I'll send you the slide, so that will help you also. But I agree with Joy that the easiest way is just to get on and just practice. So
are you sending the slides to everybody?
Just the slides to the participants.
Just the slides.
Yeah, because
okay.
Other people, I'm not sure they would understand that, but feel free to amend them, use them, whatever you want. Mary Ann?
Thank you to both of you. I'm sort of jumping in from another region. Have you thought of sharing about how to be able to record such for any of those that'll be doing this as a meeting? For let's say some sister cannot make the meeting, how to do a recording and then to be able to send it to that sister maybe later so she could listen to the meeting. Is that in your agenda sometime?
It's not in my agenda. How about I create a document of the steps to do it
Okay.
and I send that. Is everybody interested in that who's attending?
No.
Okay,
Oh, yes.
got it. We're good. I will do that. I'll create that document.
I have one other question.
Sure.
I noticed that some will wear headphones. Is there a way? I tried to use earbuds to plug into I have a Dell laptop. Is there a way to plug in so I can hear just what's being said and no one else could hear in the room?
So Marcy, why don't you talk about the quality of what you're wearing versus earbuds?
Yes. So the headset that I have right now has a microphone and the earphones, and it's a Logitech, and you can buy these for less than 20 bucks. The quality may not be as good as, you get what you pay for kind of thing. But right now I'm in a room where my husband is also working virtually, and so the headsets cuts out all of his noise, and it lets me only hear what's coming through my computer too. So if you're in a room where other things are going on or other people, I highly recommend earphones. These block out other noises, and the microphone piece also blocks out a lot of other sound around you.
Okay.
And if you guys
Thank
are
you.
listening to her, you hear the clarity of her voice and how nice that is. So she's gotten fancy on us. So Marianne, if you are wanting to do that, I would recommend you do that versus earbuds. Many times with the earbuds, the microphone does not pick up very well from the earbuds. And although the earbuds may work well, to listen, the speaker part of it, and as a role as a facilitator or the leader of it, the quality of your voice is going to be better if you do those headphones like Marcy talked about.
Okay. No, I just can't. I've tried the earbuds and I can't hear anything through them at all. So that I just was wondering. Thank you.
Phyllis, do you use headphones when you teach?
No. I'm usually not at my daughter's, and I'm not usually as limited as I am at my daughter's. So kind of have a little better space at my place than at hers. I'm sitting right by her air conditioner right behind me. So sometimes I have to mute because that'll make you guys go in and out or me go in and out. So, but it is what it is. I'm here for a little bit.
We appreciate all of your knowledge and your willingness to share with us and your vast amount of experience. We really do.
Thank you so much, you guys, for coming. I appreciate you. Reach out anytime.
I will.
All right, if you want to stay and visit, you can always stay and visit. You know me, I got to build in the social time.
Thank you.
Bye, you guys.
Sarah, oh, she's gone.
Thank you.
Thank you.